Hey everyone, and welcome to the FM League, a new series which has been organised by Dr. Benji FM and involves 8 Football Manager YouTubers. So it's very exciting. This video is my introduction to the team that I selected in the draft, which you may have seen last night. There was about 800 to 1,000 people watching, which is incredible really. So that's amazing. So thank you everyone who watched, everyone who supported us, everyone who enjoyed it and was interested and is buzzing for this series like we are. So basically the format of this video is I'm going to run you through the 18 players I selected into my team. We had a draft order. Fortunately I was first because I was probably the least prepared. I had like a few lists, but mainly lists of right backs and some average Premiership players and some very good Premiership players, but I missed out obvious ones annoyingly. As we were going along I was like, I forgot about Juan Mata. Oh dear. So that didn't go too well. But overall, I'm very pleased with my team. I'm going to run you through the team. If you're interested in watching the draft, check out Dr. Benji FM's Twitch channel. I'll put the link in the description below. He has the videos up there to watch. It's over an hour long, but you can watch the draft as if it's live, I guess. But then come back to this video and watch my analysis of my players. So we've all been tasked with introducing our team ahead of our first games next week. My first game is against Statistical Approach, or StatApp as he likes to refer to himself now. So Luke did a video already introducing his team, so check out his channel. I've put all the channels in the description below, so just click on them and then watch their introductions to their teams too. And the idea is we will introduce our players, but we don't want to give too much away because obviously the other people will then analyse our squads, analyse our tactics and take advantage of that. So I think the trick is to try and be discreet, or perhaps throw in some sort of curveballs and try and trick your opponents. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I could pretend that I'm playing, 3 at the back when I'm not really, but I probably won't do that. We'll see anyway. So I'm going to run through the players and then sort of show you them in a team perspective, just so you can see them all. Yep. So as I was able to select first, it meant I was going to go for either Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. And I decided to go for Lionel Messi. Personally, I prefer him, which is why I went for him. And I think he's pretty unstoppable on Football Manager. So irrelevant of who else I picked, I've got an advantage with Messi in the team. If you want to see who else everyone else selected, I've put a document in the description below where you can just look through the teams. There'll be some spelling errors there. We were doing it quickly as we went through, but I think you can get the general idea of who we've all selected and see who the strongest team is. Maybe in the comment section below you can let me know who you think has the strongest team. I think I had a good start, but I started to perhaps lose it a bit towards the end and selected some players I'm not overly happy with now, but they should hopefully fit into my system. Anyway, next up was Arturo Vidal. We basically were able to pick 2 world players. The rest of the players, all the other 16 players we have, are English Premier League players. But the first 2 choices were world players from anywhere in the world outside of the Premier League. And I went for Arturo Vidal because he's one of my favourite ever players, if not my favourite ever player on FM as a whole. And he's just so versatile. And everything is at least 10 apart from long throws. He's just such a good dynamic player in the middle who can play anywhere in the middle and anywhere on the pitch almost. Look at that versatility. So if I do happen to have injuries in a game, then I can drop him back into various positions. Injuries don't count in terms of when we play against each other. Injuries will not carry on into future games. Suspensions will, though. Red cards, yellow cards do count. As I had first choice at the world level, in terms of I was able to pick Messi first, I didn't get the first choice Premier League player. We made it fair that if you were last with the world, then you'd get another choice. It sort of varied, it switched around each time. There was no particular order, but it was randomised to make it a bit fair. But when it ended up on my turn for the my first Premier pick, I actually managed to get Eden Hazard, which I'm very pleased with. He's obviously one of the best Premier League players. I'm very happy to have him. Should be destructive for me wherever I play him. Perhaps on the wing, perhaps in the middle. We shall see. Maybe I want to throw a curveball in there. In fact, perhaps I should go for Hazard and Lionel Messi at centre-back just to really throw everyone. Maybe not, though. So, yeah, pretty happy with Hazard. My fourth choice was maybe a bit of a strange one for people in the Twitch chat when we were streaming it. But he fits well into my system. He's just a very good playmaker, attacking playmaker. And I think perhaps I picked him a bit too early. But... yeah, I just decided to go for him. Mainly because I forgot about players like Juan Mata. But anyway, I decided to go for Eriksen. I then thought it might be a good idea to get a really good keeper. Courtois had been nicked by someone. Someone had selected Neuer in the World League. I think it was second yellow card that selected him. But I decided to go for De Gea. He's a good keeper. I'm not actually a huge fan of him in real life. He's a very good player, of course. I much prefer Courtois, but I thought De Gea would be the next best option. I'm not really that keen on Joe Hart. So yeah, I went for De Gea. Just to note that we were only allowed to have 3 players per team, so that obviously made it a bit more difficult as well. I think Arsenal was the only team that had 3 players from, which is a bit strange. We'll see them in a minute. But anyway, Branislav Ivanovic. I thought I need a good solid defender, and arguably Ivanovic is one of the best centre-backs, even though he plays at right-back primarily for Chelsea. I may play him right-back, I may play him centre-back. I don't want to give too much away. Maybe 3 at the back. But I would say, Kompany went to Luke at Statistical Approach, and he'd already selected Thiago Silva, so his defence is incredibly strong, which is sensible, I think, but at the same time may not be, because often on FM15, defence is a bit lackadaisical, whoever you've got in defence, and perhaps it is just best to outscore your opponents. So the fact that I may not have the strongest defence, you may see that. You may think it's not the best defence, but it may not matter if I've got a very good attack. But anyway, Ivanovic, I would say, is one of the best centre-backs. In fact, I think Chelsea probably have the 3 best centre-backs after Kompany. Terry, Cahill and Ivanovic, who actually plays right-back. I would say they're probably the next 3 best centre-backs in the league. Now, by the next choice, everyone was going crazy, saying, why hasn't Falcao been selected? Why hasn't Alexis Sanchez been selected, and those sort of players? So I managed to get Falcao, even though he was the 7th choice for me. So an amazing striker. We're allowed players on loan to the Premier League. We're not allowed players on loan out of the Premier League. Some more information about it is that we're going to be playing a mini league to start with. We all play each other, and then after that there's a knockout round where first plays 8th, second plays 7th, etc. So even though you finish bottom of the league stage, you could still get through if you manage to beat first place in the knockout round. So it's sort of a playoff system. It's going to be very interesting and may upset a few people, but it's going to be good fun. So next is Vertonghen. Let's just search for him. Jan Vertonghen. I thought I really wanted versatile players because I'm not 100% sure which tactic I'm going to be using to start with, and I may mix it up. And if I've got versatile defenders, versatile midfielders, versatile attackers everywhere, then I can play any system I like, really. Vertonghen can play left back or he can play centre back. Depends if I want fullbacks bombing on down the wings or if I want just solid defenders on the wings in the fullback position. So that's why I've gone for Vertonghen, because he's a very good defender and quite versatile as well. Now the next choice was a bit of a panic choice. I think I just thought, who do I go for next? But Sigurdsson's, he's a Football Manager legend and I love him, and that's why I probably have selected him. And he's very good player. He's great at free kicks, so I think that will add a good element to my team. And good at long shots as well. He's a generally good player. So although he's not the strongest choice, by this point obviously a lot of the good players are going, apart from the ones that perhaps have somehow slipped through the net. So there were some very good players being selected after this point, such as Alexis Sanchez. I think I should have gone for him, but I thought perhaps he didn't fit into my system, which is why I didn't go for him. The system I have a system that I have in mind. I'm not 100% sure it's going to work, so I'm going to be testing that out over the next few days before I play Statistical Approach, whenever that is. Then was Ron Vlaar. I thought I needed another centre back, and he's a good centre back. He's probably better in real life than in the game, actually. But I think he's a solid choice to have. I selected someone else as a sort of backup centre back, so I've got 4 players that can play centre back, which I think is wise. Then we've got one of my favourite players. I'll just type him in. Nathaniel Klein. He's just such a good player on the game. He becomes better, of course, but he's a decent player at the start. And in real life, he's been sensational. So if I want to play with an attacking wing-back, well, he's not really a wing-back. If I want to play with a player that sort of bombs down the right, then I would use Klein with that pace. Although his best role is apparently a limited fullback, which is strange. I would say he's more of just an attacking fullback who's reasonably good at defending. My next choice was also a Southampton player. I thought, solid midfielder, who can I go for? And I thought Schneiderlin. I thought of a few people. There was people like Fernandinho being picked around this point, and Paulinho worked the space, selected both of them, in fact. But I thought, perhaps I need sort of a creative player in the middle who's very good at tackling as well. And I think Schneiderlin fits that role. He's got 18 on tackling, 15 on passing. Good, decent vision, teamwork, work rate as well. So he's going to be working hard in that central midfield. And I want players that won't let me down. I didn't want to go for players like Balotelli, who are a bit out there and I don't know, a bit lazy sometimes. Perhaps I'd say most of my team are pretty hard working and solid and reliable players, and that's probably why I've gone for them, which is why I went for my next choice, another central midfielder. Perhaps I shouldn't have selected someone like James McCarthy in the end. I completely stupidly forgot about Alex Song, even though I support West Ham, and Luke's statistical approach managed to get him, which is a bit annoying. But James McCarthy's solid, he's good passing, he's a good sort of defensive midfielder, box-to-box midfielder. He can play very well in that role. So if I want to play a defensive midfielder, like that's his natural position apparently, then I can go for him. If not, he can also play on the right or the middle. But like I said, the key is versatility, and that's why I've gone for these players. I can skip between different tactics if need be. Next choice, Winston Reid. I'd say good solid defender, good backup for my team. There was a few question marks about him, I think, in the chat and from my fellow compatriots when I selected him, but I think he's a good player. I was tempted to go for James Tompkins because he always does really well on Football Manager. Like even if you don't manage West Ham, he always seems to be up there with the highest ratings. I think Winston Reid's the better defender, more solid anyway. Tompkins is a bit more of a ball-playing defender, I would say. But yeah, I'm happy with that choice, but I could have selected better players, I think. Now, Theo Walcott, I think people forgot about him simply because he's injured in real life, but we can remove injuries, which is good. And he's going to add a lot of pace if I decide to play a right winger. You've noticed this is probably my only natural right winger. Or if I play a striker, then he can play up front. So maybe that's a clue. Maybe I've only got one attacking right winger because I'm not going to play wingers. Or maybe not. Maybe I can use other... I mean, Gylfi Sigurdsson can play up there as well. Eriksen, Hazard... I've got players that can play in different positions, so maybe if you're watching, Luke, maybe that's a clue for you, but we'll see. I may be throwing a curveball there. Anyway, next player. How will I spell this name? Szczesny. Let's get him up. There he is. The impossible player to spell. Okay, Wojciech. So an amazing backup keeper. No one selected him, and I thought, well, I'm going to get in there with him as my backup keeper just to stop someone else selecting him in a way. So I think I've got a decent, probably the best backup keeper, arguably. But I probably won't need him, but I thought I might as well select him anyway. Only two more to go. Somehow I selected Benteke as my 17th choice, which was probably the best 17th choice out there. People were generally selecting backup keepers by this point. Who else is on there? If I just check the document that I've got up. Schürrle was a very good 17th choice from Evolving Mick. Who else? Yeah, that's probably about it. So I think us two got the best 17th choice players, but a very good striker to come off. He's not amazing, but if I want to play a different style up front with a bit more force, a bit more physicality up there with strength, then he's the player to come off the bench and do it for me. Now, my last choice, I asked everyone in the chat, who should I get? Who was the best left-back available? Spelled Kieran wrong, I think. And people were generally saying Kieran Gibbs. So I obliged and went for Kieran Gibbs, just to make people happy. But I think he's similar to Klein, really, the opposite. But he's a left side rather than right. So I think he's a very good player to have at left back. Will I play him or Vertonghen? That's for you to find out, I guess, in the first video. So here's the squad. I've just created a team on the editor just to show you the 18 players. I'm not sure if we're going to be creating our own teams and then playing them against each other, or using a standard template team. We'll find out. But I've just selected this. I've just done this now for the video purpose. As you can see, all the 18 players in one place. So what am I going to do? What formation am I going to play? I don't know. I could play anything, couldn't I? Could play. I think I should definitely go for De Gea up front. That's obvious. So statistical approach. Watch out for that. And Messi centre back. Just a ball playing centre back. Told to bomb down the middle, dribble past everyone, play from the back. Good point is, who's going to be captain? And there's so many questions to be answered. If we just have a look at the ability wise, you can see players like Messi obviously at the top. Then it's Vidal, Hazard and Falcao, as you'd sort of presume. De Gea, Ivanovic, Walcott, all the way down to Winston Reid, who's got the lowest, only 2 stars. But that's compared to against these incredible players, of course. So I guess you could say the defence is a bit weak. Ivanovic is very good, and Vertonghen's pretty solid as well. So it's not the worst team overall. If I just show you the teams, this is then the link below, you can see. So I had the first draft, then it was StatApp going down. Maybe you can let me know who you think has the best team. But I think everyone has a very good shot at this. Everyone has a very good team. Well, Jack, at the space, decided to go for Jordan Rhodes as one of his world players from the Championship. He's a very good striker, and I think he could surprise everyone, in fact. I think he will be a very good player and score plenty of goals for him. But we shall see. And, it's going to be good, whatever happens. So please check this series out. Watch everyone else's videos. Watch my first match against Statistical Approach. Remember, it's Messi versus Ronaldo, so that's the draw for this one. It's worth watching just for that, I think. It's going to be very interesting to see. But thank you for watching this video. If you're really looking forward to it, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, very much looking forward to this. So see you soon, guys.